Hi, everybody. It's Jessica. You know, here at More or Less, we love entrepreneurship. We love talking about it. We love analyzing it, opining on it. So I wanted to bring you all a very special conversation I had at the Information's WTF Summit last month. It was a fireside with Sara and Erin Foster. Now, Sara and Erin are the founders of the Favorite Daughter clothing brand. They have a fast-growing podcast, talked about venture fund, and they also kind of found their way to entrepreneurship through a non-traditional path. They were actresses and comedy writers and reality stars. And I found the conversation with them about how they started these businesses and what it's been like coming from an unusual, non-traditional background in tech to the field and figuring out everything about marketing and sales and how to do that in an authentic way that I think is really having success in this moment. So it's a fun listen. There's a lot of banter between the sisters, a little bit with me, and I hope you enjoy.
Starting with like the really important leaders, but
yes.
We're really happy to be here.
I say we're openers. You have to let me. I know that you guys like talking on your podcast. Yeah. No, you gotta let me tee up.
Okay.
Why I asked you guys here and why I wanted to kick off. So, let me introduce Erin and Sara Foster. You guys are hard people to introduce because you do many different things. So to give you a sense, you start and run the very profitable retail business Favorite Daughter, which is awesome and was what I arrived in today, I must say. No. You guys are venture capitalists. You are Hollywood writers. You've got Disney production deals, Netflix deals. You've been creative directors at Bumble. So you've got a toe in tech land as well. And I think also just really important voices for women in media at this moment as well. So encourage you guys to, I'm sure many people listen to their podcast, but is one of my not so guilty pleasures, because it's not a guilty pleasure because I get so much out of it. So what I was hoping we could talk a little bit about is maybe start by how you guys kind of view this empire you're building. What are you hoping to achieve, and how do you think about the pieces kind of coming together?
Well, I think that when you list all those things, it's so interesting because I think what makes us different in this space is that we're sort of like the unlikely people to succeed in these areas. And I think for a long time, we saw that as something to be ashamed of or embarrassed by, something that we had to overcome. And instead, we decided to really embrace someone who maybe didn't expect that from us.
It turns out being underestimated is a real superpower.
Yeah.
You know, it's, no, but it is. It's fuel. Like, it really is fuel.
Well, Sarah's motivated by revenge. So that really gets her going. So that really gives her engine a roar.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay, so unlikely kind of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Give us a little more, give us more of the backstory, maybe around Favorite Daughter, and then the podcast.
Well, I think a lot of people, I don't want to speak for Erin because I get in trouble when I do that. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people maybe in this room or people that we respect or look up to were very clear, very intentional about the path, right? Very clear about this is where I want to get, and I'm going to do A, B, C, and D to get there. And I respect those people so much. I look at those people and I was never that person. Things didn't really start changing for me until I started really putting myself out there and saying yes to things that I thought were maybe below me, or saying yes to things that I had no idea where it was going to take me. That is really when my life started changing. Saying yes to things that were not at all in line with anything I even thought would be, impactful.
Mm-hmm. So why start retail? We'll go through kind of the empire a little bit, but tell us about retail. I mean, it's a pretty tough business.
Yeah. And we honestly didn't know how tough until we started it. And so we're kind of in too deep now. But I would say that it's
all the time Erin's like, oh, we're just gonna, I want to be a mom. Like, I'm really ready to be a mom.
Yeah,
here.
I'm just trying to look for passive income, and and this is just really
direct-to-consumer retail in 2023. Definition of passive income.
You really can't be passive with the things that we're doing. So I would really say that the Favorite Daughter is one sort of unexpected piece on our path, and we started out as I was a writer, comedy writer. Sara was an actress, and we ended up doing a show together. It was the first time we'd ever been in that position together, and it sort of clicked something for us. So we had gone and tried to sell our show to Comedy Central, and they said that they wouldn't even take a meeting with us. And then we sold it somewhere else.
No. They said, we have no intention of buying their show, but we would totally love to take a meeting with two hot chicks.
That is true.
That's actually what they said. They said, but we're not going to buy their show.
We could probably get that person canceled now.
Oh, yeah, we probably could. Yeah.
Anyway, it sort of put us on this trajectory of using rejection and finding a way to work around it. And so then we ended up doing our show together. We had never worked together before. And it started us on this interesting path that sort of took us in a lot of different directions. And I would say that Bumble was really the first big left turn that was super unexpected for us, that when the opportunity presented itself, we were confused why we were even having the opportunity, and we're scared to, can I cuss?
Yes.
Okay, great. We were really scared to fuck it up, and we did it. We took the job anyway, and we didn't fuck it up, and it gave us confidence, and it taught us that there are things you can do that weren't even on your dream board or on your wish list. There's something totally separate that you didn't think you were good at, and Favorite Daughter is sort of another example of that, because an opportunity came to us to start this brand. And we had not set out or intended to be in fashion, but when an opportunity presents itself, I really think that you sometimes have to say...
I think you need to back it up a little.
Oh, I was talking.
Are you about to say something really deep? Because I'm sorry, but I think you have to back it up, because it didn't just... I think there is a through line here, and I think that we started doing things where, to be clear, by the way, everybody in our life said to us, you should not do that show on VH1. VH1 is a terrible network. You're not going to be taken seriously as actresses. You should not do it. We're like, really? Well, I think we're going to do it. And because of that is how we met Whitney Wolfe Herd. Because of that show, Whitney Wolfe Herd was like, all the girls in my office loved Barely Famous. We want to pay you to come speak on this panel. And from there, that opportunity came. Then the opportunity from Favorite Daughter, that was really stemmed because a company had come to us saying, you guys are really funny. I think that your sense of humor
from
aligns.
Comedy to retail? Again, I don't
no, but listen, so the company, it was a company called Suburban Rhyme. Remember when Beyonce wore that kale shirt, Yale, and it was massive. So it was that company. They came to us and said, would you guys ever want to just do T-shirts and sweatshirts, right? This is lowbrow stuff.
To write, I'm going to speed this up for us.
Okay.
To write...
I'm going to get a drink.
To write funny sayings on T-shirts.
Yeah.
Anyway, we ended up, one of the sayings that we put on was Favorite Daughter. That one ended up outselling the kale sweatshirt, which we just didn't expect that to happen. It was honestly Sarah's idea. I told her it was really cheesy. I was wrong. It did well. And so then we had an opportunity to start a brand around this one T-shirt that had done well. And really the message here, because I don't need to take you down every single path of this, is that we said yes to things that we didn't fully know what it was going to turn into. And one thing that I never understand in tech, and everyone here will probably disagree with me or maybe agree with me, is that when you start a business, you're supposed to tell your potential investors exactly who your customer is before your product exists. And I think that is so insane, because you can guess or you can hope, I want the young moms to be excited about this product, but you have no fucking clue. And you'll take whoever is attracted to your product. And so for us, when we started Favorite Daughter, they said who's your girl? And we're just making things up, she's just graduated college and she's going through a breakup and she wants to buy her first blazer to show her ex-boyfriend how good
Erin
she
really was saying that. Erin, we need to cater to that.
Yeah, and they were just eating it up. And I was like, I don't fucking know. So I think we just dove into something and we were totally scared of failing. Of course we were. At every turn, you never want
I was a little more scared of failing than you.
Sarah has a bigger fear of rejection.
My self-worth is here. Yours is much higher.
I have a healthy ego. You have a healthy. Anyway, that's it. That's where we're at now. And
so where do you want to take the brand?
I think the idea is for it to become a real lifestyle brand in terms of the girl that shops at Favorite Daughter. We want to give we want to sort of like create all the things around her and in a really mindful way. So we're coming out with a clean fragrance. I'm very obsessed with non-toxic living. I don't want to create anything that I wouldn't want around me or my family. And so we're going slowly and just sort of giving that girl
but I think that it works. I think, look, it's working. I'm going to be honest. Like we've discussed it, right? It's a profitable business year 3, and we all know that's hard to do. It's really hard to do.
Very impressive.
Yeah. Thank you. And
I guess your ego's not as low as you thought it was.
No, but my instinct when people ask me, right? When people are like, oh, how's Favorite Daughter doing? How's the Netflix show doing? I'm always like, oh, it's okay. My instinct is to always be small because I'm nervous that someone might think that, right? Like, oh, well, she's really full of herself. So I always, for the first 2 years of the business, I'd be like, it's doing okay, And finally now I'm like, no, it's doing really well, and I'm really proud of it.
Can you talk a bit? I mean, we've got a lot of tech and business people here. Like, what have you guys made work? I know you've done some different things that people said were crazy with regards to wholesale and customer acquisition.
I honestly think the secret to any business working is you being the customer. And that's really what we are, is like we really think of what we want and what we want to see and what price point we want to see. And Sara and I have run in a circle of girls for a long time that are high fashion girls. They're spending $1,200 on a freaking anything, right? They're spending $3,000 on a bag. We don't do that. We just have never been high fashion girls. And so we were always going to events like this and being sort of intimidated because we weren't wearing the Row or Kate and wondering what we can wear and have somebody like ask us, what we're wearing because they think it's cute. And it turns out that is who our customer is. Our customer is a girl who wants to go out and be proud of what she's wearing and wear something cool and trendy and unique she doesn't want to pay more than $300 for it. And she wants her friends to covet it.
But I think this is an interesting area here because we see a lot of influencers, celebrities starting brands. Some of them work, some of them fail, right? So
most of them fail.
Most of them fail. I think if you look
that's what she was implying. Yeah.
Right, most of them do. But if you look at Kim, right? Look at Kim with Skims. Skims is beyond any of our comprehension. I mean, this is a business that will IPO probably at an $8 billion market cap. I have no idea. But it's killing because she wears Skims, right? That is her. She wears the clothes. Now, her skincare, I don't know if the skincare is doing well because the consumer, I think, is like, really, is Kim using the skincare? I don't know. But everyone knows she is wearing those clothes.
Is that why you're constantly posting about Favorite Daughter clothes?
100.
Yes.
No, listen.
It really is.
Yeah, of course.
If we're not actively out there, we see it in the sales. I mean, we see if we're not actively talking about it, doing live streams, gifting to people, having them post, we see it in our sales.
There are people who have started brands that are affordable, but they don't wear affordable brands. They wear really expensive brands. And so I think that, we are the customers and we're not stupid. You see something and you're just like, this feels incongruent. There's something like inauthentic about this. And I really think that everything comes back to
we're both in head to toe Favorite Daughter.
Yeah, we wear that's not ours, actually.
Oh, this is Skims. But everything else is Favorite Daughter.
I knew.
This is Favorite Daughter.
I knew you were wearing Skims.
But do you guys, and then I want to talk about the world of investing, where you guys are also making a splash. But how do you think about it? There are a lot of people in this audience and founders who feel the weight of being the brand of their, no one else sitting on this stage, I'm sure. But how do you think about that, both in terms of the near-term work required and also like the longevity of the brand?
There's a reason why we called it Favorite Daughter and not Erin and Sara Foster, right? I think Erin and Sara Foster would not be sitting here if we started a brand called Erin and Sara Foster. I think Favorite Daughter, it transcends us. We're not A-list people, I mean, I think Favorite Daughter resonates with everybody. You walk down the street, you see somebody wearing Favorite Daughter, they stop you on the street because we can all relate to Favorite Daughter. Most women can relate to that.
But there is a lot of pressure. There is, because it's a totally different time than when you could start a business 30 years ago and not feel pressured to be front facing. And it is pressure feeling that, when sales dip for 2 days, we get text saying you need to be posting, right? Because then they jump back up again. And so it's tricky. This is a very complicated time in the world right now. Absolutely. We don't want to be posting our sweaters necessarily. That's insensitive. But then that's our business. So when's the appropriate time to do it? I think that there is a lot of pressure, and I don't know if it's making businesses better. Getting more content doesn't mean you're getting better products. You're just getting more of something. And I don't want to be in the business of giving people more. I want to be in the business of giving people what they want and what they need, and not a little bit more. And that's kind of impossible to do right now.
Yeah.
But Jessica, don't you think the consumer is smarter? I mean, it used to be if an A-list person or somebody with a huge following posted your goods, you would see, right? You would see the uptick. Your Shopify would be doing this. I think it's shifted. I think the gifting thing isn't moving the needle for consumer brands the way that we have. I think there was sort of like a backlash on it. It was this thing, right? Gifting and the unboxing and all of that. And brands were really, really utilizing that tool to move product. But I think the consumer got sick of it. The consumer's like, we don't want to watch you unbox. We're not,
It's so boring.
It's so boring. And the gifting, and it just
it's like,
began.
And no one sends me shit. So like, why do I care if they send you?
We will now.
No, you guys do.
But it's so much more than posting. I mean, not to sit here and tell you about, being in the trenches from the very beginning and all the things we did, but we went to colleges. We thought, okay, what is a cool partnership to do? Which partnerships is a huge, tool in this business. And we aligned with the graduate hotels. We went to the graduate hotel, they're hotels, and they're within, like a 2-mile radius of every major university. So we called them, we had a relationship with them, and we said, we want to do trunk shows at a few of your graduates to introduce the customer to favorite daughter. So we went to all these hotels.
We went to Mississippi, we went to Michigan.
We passed out flyers, we walked around colleges, or to the point where my dad was calling us going, that video you just posted of you accosting people on the street, people are going to think that's real. I'm like, it is real. That's what we're doing. We're literally passing out flyers.
Anyway, that's the fun part.
Yeah. So what about podcasting? And also, I can tell you, media, like in subscription business journalism, times are good, but it is a tough industry. And podcasting, I mean, I have friends who run media organizations who say, I've got 19 podcasts and 18 lose a ton of money. So how are you thinking about it?
I think there's not always a way to put your finger on why something great fails and why something mediocre succeeds, or why something that is in the mix with 50 others just rises to the top. We're lucky that our podcast still has listeners. Maybe that won't be the case in a year or 2 years, but at the end of the day, the podcast is a light lift. It is. It's fun for us. We enjoy it. We learn from it. We can do it from home. You can sit there and you use your computer. I can do it when I'm traveling and bring a little microphone with me. It's not the heaviest lift, and it's something that we enjoy. So to me, I don't know why it's working. I don't know if that will continue, but our heart is in it. We like it. We think about what we would want to hear, what conversations we would want to hear. And we were nervous to do a podcast just because there's so many out there. And it's like you don't want to be the last to join something. And we were literally the last people to have a podcast.
We were literally the last people to have a podcast.
I don't think that's true.
And so I think it's just one of those things where you just say yes, and maybe it doesn't work, and maybe it doesn't. All the things that you're talking about are the things that we've done that work. But we've done plenty of things that didn't work.
Let's talk about those.
Oh, okay.
Well, listen, for Erin and I, we sit here, I in my mind, I was an actress. That's what I was in my 20s up until my early 30s. And when our television show got canceled, I thought my life is over. Like, I'm a loser. I thought I was going to be Cameron Diaz. That really did not happen.
No, she did not become Cameron Diaz.
No, I did. I did not.
Something else.
But I couldn't have imagined. What?
You became Sara.
I became Sara. But I couldn't have imagined ever there being a day where I would be okay not trying to be an actress anymore. I really didn't. And it's just been a long freaking grind. And it's still a grind. And the thing about the podcast is we truly always think, like, are people going to show up? Are people going to listen? Do people care? And the podcast really has been amazing for business. It's amazing for founders of our portfolio companies. It's amazing for favorite daughter. It's amazing. I think why it works is because we really mix up solo episodes, you're a listener, where Erin and I, where you feel like you're on the sofa with us and you're just talking to...
Where we fight.
We do fight, but we're also, Erin and I are quite different. So we bring different perspectives, I think, to the podcast. So we have the solo episodes with us, but then we really try to bring experts that are not oversaturated in the podcast space, right? There's all the people who do the podcast rounds. We try not to pick
the people that are like on press tours, that are on every podcast.
We try to discover,
Because you've just already heard those conversations.
Do you get pressure to like build a podcast empire or bundle with other podcasts or
sometimes, but I don't think it's better to do 10 things sort of at 10%, right?
Ominous.
Very ominous.
Yeah.
But talking about failures, we're sitting here and it's so cool to be on a stage like this and having this conversation with women here. And, I'm 41 years old. I am thought I would be here kind of at a different stage of my life, right? Like I thought when I was 30, I was going to be this fully formed adult and I was going to be having all these things come true. And when I was 30, I had like gotten fired from my first big writing job on a TV show. I'd just gotten dumped by my boyfriend, who I thought I was going to marry, but I'm really glad I didn't. He's a sociopath. I just want to be clear about that. And I really felt like, holy shit, what do? I just turned 30 and it's all supposed to be happening and none of it's happening. And it took a really long time. It felt like it took a long time to get here. And sitting here today, it feels so good. But looking back, if I had known it was going to take 10 years to sit here, I would have been devastated by that. And we have a niece who moved to LA recently to be a writer, and she had all these ideas in her mind of like she was gonna basically like at LAX, someone was gonna like offer her own.
She's like,
show.
I'll write on your show, right? Erin's like, no, you will not.
And she said to me recently, because she's been living here for a year now, or in LA. And she was like, I was so naive when I moved here. I thought that everything was going to happen. And then I look at you and like, you're like 40 years old and like your life is just starting. And I was like, what? She's like, you just got your first show made. I was like, Cool.
You're like, I've written 8 pilots. I've written 8
But
shows.
listen, those pilots didn't go. You know, you spent a lot of time writing things and it's so weird. You can make a real career out of being a TV writer without anything ever airing because they pay you to write it. They just don't ever pay you again. And so being at a place now where I'm going to have my own TV show on the air, I just would have been so sad if I knew it was going to take till now. But now that I'm sitting here, it feels like the perfect time.
Yeah. Well, tell people about your show. And then also it's like been a crazy time in Hollywood, obviously with the strike. Like what's your view of where things are and what's going to happen?
Okay, so we have a show. Sara and I produced it together. I wrote this show called Shiksa. The name is probably not going to end up staying.
But how good is that name, Shiksa? It's so good.
I converted to Judaism when I got married, and so I sold a show that Kristen Bell is going to play me and Adam Brody is playing my husband, but it's as if my husband was a rabbi and like a young, cute rabbi who meets a shiksa and they fall in love, and it's like a cute rom-com. The strike it went on for a pretty long time. Listen, I went to Paris during the strike. We went to Austria. I worked a little bit and had a great summer, and I'm just really happy to be back at work.
Do you think Hollywood will be changed by this? I mean, I guess the issues at the core of the strike, obviously the economics of streaming, AI, like does it feel like the industry is starting to sort that out, or are things as messy as ever?
But I don't think it's ever going to change that people crave good TV and good storytelling.
No, but for the in terms of the strike and stuff, like the writers that are working for me, they feel very good about the deal. And I think that, writers have always felt really beholden to studios and networks, and it feels like the networks and studios are not happy about where we landed and the writers are happy, and I think that's a good thing. I think that we should be happy. Like they're doing really well. And so I think that anyone getting their power back, the writers didn't take advantage at all. We write on shows that are streaming that make networks tremendous amounts of money, and you have no ownership in it. And it's just not right. So I'm really happy with where it ended up.
Awesome. Okay, so in our remaining minutes, you do all of that, and you decide to become venture capitalists.
Well,
why? How's it going? I'm sure there's an opportunity.
Listen, I'm going to be really honest. If I could choose, I'd be an angel investor. I'd have tons of capital, and I would just write checks, and I wouldn't have to answer to LPs, and I wouldn't have to write all those long ass updates. Let me tell you, those updates kill me. I'm writing one right now.
ChatGPT can.
No. I was giving someone an award recently, and I used ChatGPT, and it was not good.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend that. Yeah. But so truly, we raised money we had a problem, right? We were getting really incredible allocations into really great deals, and we didn't have the money. So because of Bumble was loud, right? People felt like, oh, here are these girls. Whitney has hired them. They're helping, launch the BFF and biz arm of the app. They're out there. So then from there, we just started getting tons of deal flow, right? We got Mirror, which was also very visible. So those were all the ones that worked, right? And then there were tons that didn't. So we started, writing angel checks, and it was great and fun. But then we just started going like, shit, we are leaving so much on the table. We're having to say no to these cap tables, and it sucked. We're like, we need to raise money. But we were like, look, let's not be crazy here. Let's raise a little bit, not a lot.
We don't want to lead rounds. We really want to be a cool co-investor of choice for people.
No, it's a small fund. And honestly, it's the same
How big
philosophy.
is the fund? Or do you guys say?
Are we allowed to say that? I don't even know.
Of course you can say.
It's 10 million.
Oh yeah, it's 10 million.
We raised 10 million. Yeah, and we,
So it's a small fund, and we really use the same philosophy in the fund that we do with anything that we do, which is not intentional. It's just the only thing we know how to do, because we didn't go to business school, so we don't know exactly how to go about this other than be the customer. We only invest in something that we really can see and understand. We can see our friends using. We understand the marketplace for that product. If it's something that is above our heads or is something that's meant for somebody else, then there's no point in us investing in it. And it's all still very new. You know, we're only
there's also a lot of
2 years
FOMO,
into
right?
it.
Wouldn't you say there's a lot of FOMO in venture? It's like we see deals and we're like, oh, like this person invested. Oh, this founder did this, and we have to be really, really clear to our thesis. We have to stick strong to our thesis, and so far it's working. But there's another component to this, which is we're not doing this alone. I think looking at all the things that we've done right, not the things we've done wrong, but the things we've done right, is when we have associate ourselves with people much smarter than us. Favorite Daughter is a joint venture. Erin and I did not raise money. We did not put $1 into this company. We are not. If we raise money for Favorite Daughter, it wouldn't exist.
No.
So we are in a joint venture with a company that knows supply chain, that has all the relationships, that is going to India and China and Mexico, and they're doing it and they're earning their.
And they own 50% of the company.
Absolutely.
And
so
everybody told us that was a terrible
Everyone told
idea.
us not to do that. They said raise money, don't give away
Own
50%
the whole
of the
thing.
business. Yes.
Oh, by the way, we didn't want to own the whole thing, because then we own all of the responsibility. We are not looking for that. We need a partner that knows how to run the business.
But everybody told us not to do that.
So I think the message there for us is just sort of, if you're getting into a lane that you don't fully understand, then I don't think you're doing yourself a service to pretend that you know how to be in that lane by yourself. We have really helpful partners in our fund. We have a partner, Phil Schwartz, and he has funds on his own, and he has taught us so much. And so we always really try to align ourselves with people that can teach us.
I love it. Okay, I have a couple more questions, but I want to see if we can get some from you guys quickly. If we can get a mic. Does anyone? Okay, we'll get some mics.
Hi guys, I feel like I'm looking at them, but there's all these like beautiful ladies over here.
I think we had someone on the end, and then maybe 1, 2.
Is this working? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you, ladies, for being here so much. And thank you, Jessica, for bringing them on stage. My question is, I loved what you said, being so vulnerable about when you were first pitching investors yourselves and not knowing how to answer the questions they were asking, kind of making it up, which I think we've all been there. Now that you're on the other side of it, what are your questions, or like what's your number one question to your investors, or to the—
You mean to the investors in our fund, or to founders that we're talking to?
To founders that you're talking to invest in? Like, what are you asking them, and how are you asking it so that you get to that next level?
Look, I don't know if this is, you guys know more than me, but I'm always, and maybe you're going to disagree with this. I'm actually curious how you guys feel. When I'm speaking to founders and when they're pitching, when they're kind of not clear about the roadmap, right? I get it but when they're not fully clear, when I find them asking me questions like, well, what would you do? Well, wait, that scares me. I'm always very—
You want a plan.
For me, and maybe that's not the right way to look at it, but that for me is always a little bit of a red flag. I really connect to founders who their roadmap is clear.
I think
that's a good one.
It's not a question, but there's something that I've noticed with certain founders that is a turnoff to me. And I really noticed this when I worked with Whitney Wolf, because she taught us the right way to do it. And she just sort of taught by example. Whitney was always in the business of Bumble. She was not in the Whitney business. She was in the Bumble business. That was what she
would force us to go to her photo shoots. She would be like, I'm supposed to do the cover of this thing. I don't want to do it. You guys go do it.
So sometimes we meet with founders and you can see that they're thinking about their Forbes cover instead of thinking about their business. And that is a huge, huge red flag to me, because you can't be in the you business. You have to be in the business of your product, and you really can feel the difference, because now female founders are very fun to watch their rise, and they get energy and attention, and that's amazing. But sometimes it's a huge distraction, and so you can see when someone is sort of thinking about themselves, and it's usually at the detriment of the business.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, let's get 2 more. We had one here, and I think one over here.
One right here.
Oh, great.
So I love what you said about saying yes to things where you don't know fully, you can't imagine where the path is going to take you because it'll take you somewhere exciting. Are there guidelines that you have for what you'll say no to in order to kind of be able to take the risks of those kinds?
Well, Erin's our ethics police over here. She's always like, is it bad for the environment? Is it off-gassing at all? And I'm like, Erin, don't worry about it.
Let's just say Sara has no moral code and I have one. So it's good to have both.
We're a great team.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know if you were about to answer, but I really think it comes down to a gut instinct, and I really think, I know that there are things that get brought to our attention, and I know that it would compromise other things that we have going. I know it would be irresponsible to say yes because I wouldn't be able to give it the time and energy that it deserves, and that's a definite no. So I would say not thinking of people pleasing and not thinking of saying yes because you think you should say yes, but saying yes to something that feels like scary and outside of your comfort zone, but probably something that you'll grow from. Those are the yeses.
Great. Okay, last question over here.
Thanks. All right. So the older I get and the more senior I get in my career, the more I value working with great people. And the more I just want to say, fuck it, I want to work with my friends.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear what it's really like to work with your sister.
Well, you're implying that we're friends.
Exactly.
No, if we were friends, the thing about the reason why this works is because she's obsessed with my kids.
That's
so
true.
We will get into the biggest fights. We disagree about everything, by the way. And then, but she wants to still see my kids. I'll hold my kids from her, until she grovels. I'm like, okay, really, you don't want to apologize? We're not going to see the kids for a week. And so,
because we'll have some big fight, and then I'm like, fuck, I really want to come over for dinner tonight. So I'll try to work around. And now her 12-year-old has a phone, so I can sometimes go around. And Sarah, what are you doing here? I mean, listen, if you have siblings, then you know what it's like. It's hard.
Oh my
God. It is hard. Sarah and I, we say that we had two totally different childhoods, and we grew up in the exact same house. And we have had so many blowout arguments because we think that each other were both pathological liars because we had such different experiences in the same household. And it's taken a lot of growing up and a lot of therapy and a lot of crying conversations to understand that we just have different perspectives. You sit in the same room and have the same conversation, but you hear two totally different things. And so it's taken a long time for us to respect that the other person is just coming from a different place and they're not looking to ruin our lives, but they're looking, the person is looking to be heard and seen. And that's something that it's taught us really life lessons, because when you disagree with someone, there are so many ways to make them understand you feel differently. You can be like, are you a fucking idiot? Why would you choose that color? That's the ugliest color. That's how Sara talks, okay?
Whoa, I didn't see it going there. Oh my God.
Or you try to ask questions, and it's like going to couples therapy. We have to learn how to talk to each other in a way that makes this function.
But I think in a normal working environment, you don't say everything you're thinking, right? Of course, that's you. If we did that there would be problems. But when you're sisters, you do. So that's the thing, and that's what we've had to really work hard on, because we are partners in so many different ventures. We can't act like that. Yeah. And it's been a long road for us to...
But I would also say that my friendships that I feel the safest in are the ones with people who are really direct, because you don't have to spiral and wonder if they're mad at you. You know if they're mad at you. You don't have to wonder if they're upset about something or you didn't show up. They're going to say to you, I'm really annoyed that you came late to my birthday. And that feels safe to me, because then at least you can have the argument that you need to have. At least you know exactly where you stand. I know today all of Sara's issues with me, all the things that she's proud of, all the things she wished I did differently. And so you kind of come there every day with a clean slate. And it honestly has reminded me how important that is in female friendships, is you're giving someone a gift by being direct with each other. When you have to wonder, and as women, unfortunately we wonder if someone's mad at us all the time. We wonder if we misstepped and it changed how someone felt about us. And so
I never want to pass on any deals. I'm always whenever I'm going to pass on a deal, I'm doing, word gymnastics without just saying thank you so much. This isn't right for us, but I'm happy to intro you to blah, blah, blah. I literally do word gymnastics to avoid saying this isn't right for us, which is so crazy. And I think, is that but Erin's very direct. Erin will write emails to founders. I'm like, Erin, you cannot send that. That person founded Pandora, whatever. You cannot not send that email.
I don't know the founder of Pandora.
I don't know that. I'm just saying, not that. But I'm just saying, and Erin's like, no, this is the right thing to do. It's honest feedback. It's the right feedback. I'm like, you cannot send that email. She's like, well, I already sent it. I'm like, oh my God.
What's next? What's going to be, if you're going to be sitting here 2 years from now, what's going to be
Well,
different?
listen, I think, Erin and I really divide and conquer, because being a creator of a Netflix show is all hands on deck. So Erin is the creator of a Netflix show. She's the, partner at the fund, the podcast, favorite daughter, all the things, but she needs to be full-time Netflix. Like that is, she has to be in the writers. I mean, we didn't even prep for this. We're the only idiots here that didn't prep for our
we had a few texts.
Our conversation because she was in the writers' room up until 6 o'clock till she got here. So,
and it's actually really great because I really can't focus on a lot of other things right now, and I can't be in our fittings, and I can't be on a lot of our fun calls because I really do have to be in the writer's room. And it's really great because Sara, it's like the one thing she doesn't get resentful of me for. She really is willing to take it all on and like hold up that end because we're in it together, and she totally gets that. So,
but to answer your question,
yeah,
I
so
guess
2 years.
2 years or 1 year?
A big hit. 2 years.
Give you guys 24 months.
Listen, 2 years, I think for favorite daughter, I think we'd love to go into other categories. I think we want to go into men's. I think kids, it sucks. The margin is like...
Same brand in other men's?
Well,
in men's?
Yes.
I think it would be called something different, maybe like FD men or something. But we really want to give the girl who's our customer help her shop for her husband, brother, dad, boyfriend.
One who broke up with her, and that's why she's
we're upset she's buying him clothes, but it's fine.
They get back together.
Yeah.
But no, we just hope that this ecosystem that really feeds each other, which it does, by the way. We haven't really talked about it. The ecosystem that we have, the podcast, the fashion brand, the fund, the shows, they all really feed each other. They all help us source deal flow. They all help us give founders a voice. They help give us a voice. They help us introduce ourselves to new favorite daughter customers. It really all feeds each other. So when we were raising this fund, we were really thinking we were going to get the question of like, are you full-time? Are you full-time? Like, is it, and people got it, which was really interesting. People really respected that you're only as good as the deals you're seeing, right? So I guess 2 years, hopefully the Netflix show is still happening, and maybe we're on Fund 2 or Fund 3.
I think you guys are ahead on a lot of curves in terms of where all these things are going. And I also just think you got your stories about the hustle and how you've approached it, and not giving in when people tell you it won't work. Pretty inspirational. So I'm sure we'll all be watching what's next. And thank you guys for being here.
Thank you so much for having us, guys. Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed this show, please leave us a virtual high five by rating it and reviewing it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Find more information about each episode in the show notes, and follow us on social media by searching for @MoreOrLess, @DaveMorin, @Lesson, @JLesson, and as for me, I'm @Brit. See you guys next time.